All right, mic's on. Yes, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Grantham Ward Candidates Debate and Meet and Greet. My name is Marty Mako. I will be your moderator for this evening. And just a note about myself and my role here tonight. I do not live in the Grantham Ward, so I do not have a vote or stake in this game, and I think that's why they invited me here tonight, because I will be an independent and neutral moderator. My only passion is for local democracy and civic engagement. I love seeing people out here tonight participating in their local municipal election, because it's really important to me, and I know it's important to you because you've given some time on this wonderful October evening. So thank you. Thank you to each of you for coming out tonight. I do have some opening remarks before I hand the floor over to the candidates to start speaking about themselves and start answering questions. Just a few notes about this event. This is the 5th Grantham Ward Candidates Forum since it first began in 2006. There is complimentary coffee, tea, and water available for everyone, and it is in front of the bar all night over in the back corner. Tonight's event is hosted by the Port Weller Residents Association, with thanks to the Friends of Walker's Creek, who hosted the previous 4 candidates events. Thanks also to the Grantham Lions Club for hosting tonight's event. Absolutely, thank you. Grantham Ward has had the highest voter turnout for many years, showing that our residents deeply care about the city and the ward's many municipal issues. All of tonight's questions are moderated by me. They've been submitted in advance and voted on by the 10-member board of the Residents Association, and they were determined to be the most important questions to be asked tonight as time permits. This session will be going from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., and then the informal meet and greet with the candidates will start at 7:30. We ask that the board members of the Residents Association now stand up and please wave to the audience. You put in so much volunteer time. Please stand up and wave to the crowd. Thank you. Now, if you haven't already signed up for their free emailed newsletter, which comes monthly to your inbox, you can do that on your way out on the table by the door. I would like to call your attention also to the 5 tables at the back of the hall, where you will find campaign literature from not only our ward candidates in Grantham, but also from the mayoral, regional council, and school board trustee candidates. There is a different table for each position that's being sought. Following the Q&A forum portion of the agenda, you will have the opportunity to speak with any of the candidates running for all of these positions at the meet and greet session. This will be your opportunity to ask any candidates any questions that you have not already asked, or just to say a friendly hello and meet the candidates in person. Please note that Meriton is also holding their city councillor forum tonight as well, so many candidates will understandably be trying to do both events. You may also see we have 2 large screens here tonight for the benefit of the public and the candidates. One is against the wall, facing back there, and that one will show everyone the slides and the current questions that are being asked. And then the other screen is right here, right in front, for the candidates to see it themselves. Thank you to Kevin Jack from WeStream for providing us with your fabulous technology. Definitely a round of applause for KJ. And to the community-minded anonymous person who paid for it. So we don't know who that was, but thank you to whoever sponsored the event here tonight. This event is being live streamed as well on the Port Weller Residents Association Facebook page and also on YouTube, where it will be available on WeStream's YouTube channel for anyone to watch even after tonight if you weren't able to be here in person. A few points about the forum format. We have a person timing the candidate's answers who will show a card to the candidate speaking that they have 30 seconds left for their answer. Then the timer will show a different card to the moderator and to the candidates indicating that their time is up. So thank you to our timer and our sign holder standing in front of me there tonight. We will begin in just a moment. I actually, before we start, would like to read an Indigenous land acknowledgement. Sorry, I need it. password on the phone here.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. We just celebrated National Truth and Reconciliation Day last week, so I do think it is important to read our land acknowledgement. We begin this gathering by acknowledging the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Acknowledging this reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous peoples. Now we are ready to begin. How we are going to start is with each candidate pulling a number out of my fancy pink hat. Whoever pulls number 1 will speak first, beginning with their personal introductions, and then we will alternate to who speaks first on each question. In terms of the introductions, you will each have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves, briefly explaining why you are running, and state what you see as the top issues needing to be addressed in Grantham Ward. So I will walk to each candidate and let them pick a number out of my pink hat. Close your eyes, Bill. Dig deep. Close your eyes, reach in. I have 4.
I got 2.
Okay. Which candidate has number 1? Steve. All right. Steve, please introduce yourself, and your 2 minutes starts. Timekeeper, you ready? Yeah, you can take the mic out of the, I think it releases there. There you go. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Wojciechowski. I am a member of the Grantham Lions Club here. So what I'm looking to do is... hello, sorry. It's not working that great. Okay, because as a Lion, our motto is we serve. So that's on the small level. I looked at that and said, how can I help everybody else out? So I said, you know what? Municipal council is a way that I can serve our community and help the majority of people in this council, and this ward, and this city. For our ward, the 3 issues I'm looking at: affordability. Housing is a big issue that we need to work on so people can afford houses. Safety and security. We have a lot of speeding in our school zones. I live by a school zone. I hear cars ripping up and down the street all the time. So we need to make sure our children are safe. And accessibility is another issue for our parks, making sure our seniors have abilities to get down to our parks, make sure that they're safe and secure and that they have seating there. It's another that we can thing we can do to help out. And my last one for this area is green energy. I'm big on the green energy. There's so many different things we can do. I have on my platform, on my website, you can see there's a PACE, Personal Access Clean Energy Program, where we're able to access money from the government so people can get hot water heaters in their home, solar panels built so that they can, and it helps them pay for it. And there's a lot of other issues, but those are my main ones I'm going to deal with tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. And who selected number 2? Don, please stand up, and you can remove the mic from your stand. And are you ready there, timer? Time.
Is it on? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your time starts now.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name's Dawn Dodge, and I'm a resident of Grantham Ward, and I'm running for Grantham Ward Councillor. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Port Weller Friends of Walker's Creek, the Port Weller Residents Association, and also the Grantham Lions for hosting us here this evening. Secondly, I'd like to take a moment to thank my fellow candidates for stepping up and running in this election. So I'm bringing to you tonight my experience and some of the things that I've done over the past several years. I just want to mention a few things that I have done because people have asked me, what have you done? So some of the things that I've done are the Performing Arts Center, the Meridian Center, the Transit Services, the Aquatic Center, the hospital. And then just in Grantham alone, things that I have touched base with are safety concerns in our ward with traffic signals, park restorations along the creeks, park replacements of their equipment, just to mention a few. So I'm thankful and grateful for having served the Grantham residents in the past and would like to continue to do so in the future. And I would greatly appreciate your support. And some of the things that I find near and dear to my heart are road safety and neighborhood safety throughout Grantham, health issues, keeping taxes in line, and climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. And who has number 3? All right, Bob. You can grab the mic out of the stand.
There we go.
And your 2 minutes starts now.
Well, hello, everybody. I am Bob Romeo. I am a long life resident here in St. Catharines, born and raised, and I've been living in the Grantham ward for about 18 years now. And when I originally chose Grantham, I just kind of fell in love with the area, so close to the canal. And I was a single guy when I bought my house, and I had, dreams of, like everybody does, of growing a family here. And today, me and my wife do have a 10-year-old daughter, and we live here in the Grantham ward. And we just want the best for her friends, for all future generations, because St. Catharines, we all live here for a reason. St. Catharines is a very great city to live in. And I just want to make sure that it continues that way. And down the road, it improves and improves and improves. And we see people not moving away, but staying here, growing families, growing businesses. I'm also very community oriented. I have been involved in our community with the nonprofit sector for the last 10 years. I have worked for Epilepsy Niagara as a community outreach coordinator. And I currently work as Director of Marketing for Goodwill Niagara here in St. Catharines. I'm also a past president and current member of the Kiwanis Club of St. Catharines, and also an alumni member of Gen X, which was with the United Way. And I've worked in local broadcasting as well here in the area. Running for public office is something that I've always thought about and I've always been interested in. And I really want to help out people. I like helping them out in the community for what I do now, but in a bigger scale to help out Grantham and to help out the entire city. So my top 3 issues would be accessibility for everyone, preserving the trees and green space, and accountability to all the residents here. I know I would be a really strong voice for the Grantham ward at City Hall, and that's why I'm here tonight, and I'm here on the campaign asking for your vote. Bob can do the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And I think number 4 would have to be Bill. All right, Bill, your 2 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Marty. Thanks, first of all, to the organizers tonight. It's a very important evening for us to be able to explain what we want to happen in the city and in Grantham. I'm Bill Phillips. I've been a resident in Grantham ward for 43 years. We raised our 4 children here, and they all went to Lake Breeze School. A great, great ward to be in, and we're very proud of everything that we have here. I've served, finishing my 4th term on council, and looking forward to a 5th, I hope. Being on council is a 24/7 job. I retired as an elementary school principal one June, and I got elected in October, and as my wife Susan says, you've never been retired. But if you take this job seriously, it's with you all the time. My goals for Grantham ward in the upcoming term are threefold. Number one, to make sure that we get phase 2 of Sunset Beach completed. We just opened the washroom this week, and phase 2 is on its way. I want to get the Walker's Creek area reviewed and improved. And lastly, we want to get the Bogart Park area finished and get the playground and everything set up in there that is supposed to be there. As far as the citywide is concerned, yes, affordable housing is a major issue that we have to deal with. We'll be working with the region on that because it is a regional responsibility, but also we work very hard and try and make sure that we can make that happen for the people who are less fortunate than we are. Another thing, we have to improve communication from City Hall, and I see my time's up, and I'll get to that later. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, candidates, for those introductions. Now we are going to move into the question format. So keep those numbers in front of you because that's the order that you're each going to answer these questions. But I'm going to start with a different person for each question, so it's not the same person going first every single time. Question number 1. For this question, we refer everyone's attention to the screens to see the slide of the city's zoning map for Port Weller East. Hope you brought your glasses if you can see that there. The diagonal road running left to right is Lakeshore Road. The red line shows the urban boundary of our city. The black line is Reed Road, which is our city limit with Niagara on the Lake, right across the street from its orchards and vineyards. The significant area of blue lands, which adjoin the provincial Greenbelt, are zoned Industrial E2, much of which has been vacant since that zoning designation by the city in 1971. The green lands are zoned as parks and green space. The light yellow lands are zoned as residential. Please note that the existing residents cannot drive to or from their homes without driving through lands zoned industrial, as well as noting the proximity to both Lake Ontario and the Welland Canal. So that's a lot of background. Now we're getting to the question. Would you commit to supporting a motion to create a vision plan land use study of the huge area of urban lands that you see on the screen, working with stakeholders to review its many issues caused by conflicting zoning, traffic concerns, being an incomplete community with a lack of amenities for existing residents, and review its future development capabilities for residential and mixed-use commercial zoning at Colonial Florists, and on the 45 vacant acres of industrial lands at 406 Lakeshore. Please explain your answer. What an easy question to get started tonight. So, we're all going to have a chance to answer this question, but I'm going to start with number 2. So who's number 2? That's Don. All right, Don, you get the first chance to answer, and you each have up to 2 minutes to answer this question. Timekeeper, ready? Don, you may begin.
Thank you for the question. So I'm just going to sit this evening so I can see some of my cheat sheets here. But when we're answering the questions, that is, if that's okay with everyone. So that's a long question, and short answer would be yes, I would be interested or I would support this. It's very complex when you're talking about 406 Lakeshore Road. This is, to me, a property that has come to council several times, and every time that it has come to council, it has been turned down to change the zoning at that particular property. And it's, it's we don't have a lot of lands left in the city of St. Catharines for industrial uses and job creation. And I think that that property, being in such close proximity to our Port Weller dry docks and the other businesses that are there right now, I think that we need to keep that so that they can possibly have future expansion or have other people coming in and putting some industrial commercial buildings in there. And, we're always trying to promote our canal as some way to take traffic off of our highways and stuff. So I think that we should be supporting that way of, using the canal there. My time is over already? So I support and anticipate preventing land use incapabilities there. So I just don't think that residential and industrial go together that well. I think that we need to have some place that we can support job creation. And quickly, if I can just go over to the property on Colonial Forest.
Now your time is up.
Sorry, I can talk about it later.
On to number 3, who I believe is Bob. You're up next.
I've kind of reviewed this a little bit. I looked at the plan, and I saw that they were talking about it again in council. Just hearing Marty talk, it seems like it's been sitting there for a long time, and it could be really used for something. As I was saying, I'd like to continue to see families grow and jobs come to the area. I think I would say yes to this, to have the council look at this and see that we could do something useful with the land. And yeah, that's about it, really. I want to have the chance to have that conversation, get a little more into it with the planning. I understand that it's not going to be a quick conversation. I mean, obviously, they've been talking about it for a while, so it will take time, but I would like to work with the council and the mayor of designing a plan that works for everybody and to bring more jobs to the area and use that zoning area.
Thank you, Bob. Number 4, so that is Bill up next.
It's difficult to answer a question in 2 minutes, as we spent about 6 hours on council talking about it. But anyway, I agree with much of what Don said. It is it's designated employment land. In asking our Director of Economic Development, he has indicated that there are companies who have expressed interest in locating there. So we don't want to change it right off the bat. In order to do such a study, though, it's going to take a long time because the queue is quite long. We have the General Motors secondary plan. We have GO Transit coming to the city. We have the General Hospital site. Large developments are scheduled for downtown, and implementing the Transportation Master Plan and something called Bill 108 that the province is bringing down is going to create an exorbitant amount of work for our planning department. So if we are going to do this, I would support it because I'd like to see a plan for all of Port Weller to see what we can do. There definitely are some changes that can be made, but I think it's going to take a while in order to do that because our planning department is going to be swamped, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And last but not least, Steve.
Okay, looking at this, I would definitely support a vision plan because we need to have an idea of what we want to do with that land, what the city wants to do with land, what the residents of the area wants to do with that land. Colonial Florists, I know they're looking to try to turn it to residential, which would make sense because they are already close to a residential area. I mean, they are mixed around a commercial area as well, but that would make sense in that area. As for the 406 Lakeshore, to have industrial lands that far away from a highway is tough. Businesses, and especially industrial, that are trucking, they want to be close to a highway. They don't want to be way out across a bridge. So if their trucks have to sit for 45 minutes to an hour, they're not happy. They don't like that. And then to build, I believe, docks and stuff to actually load and unload there, it's going to take some time, and I don't know if that's feasible. And we want to try to reduce the heavy traffic in that area, especially with all the houses and things for the residents of the Port Weller area. So that's, I think, a strategic vision plan on multi-use land so that obviously the people of the Port Weller East area can have houses and businesses and restaurants, stuff so that they don't have to go over the bridge all the time, so that they can actually just go out their front door and they're back there and back and forth in no time. So that's I think we should really take some time and put a good study on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We are on to question number 2. This one is a bit shorter. The city's response to overflow issues at Sunset Beach during COVID was to enact expensive security measures, restrictive beach closure policies, create paid parking for city residents with no established cap, and reduced the parking available on streets in Port Weller West. Now that the pandemic is mostly behind us, what would you like to see happen going forward? And if time permits in your answer, please comment on the Sunset Beach boat launch issue as well. You each will have 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds to answer this one. So the time will vary with each question. I'm going to start with a different number for each answer. We're going to start with number 4 this time. So Bill is up first for this question. Ready, timekeeper? You may begin.
Thank you. First of all, we will be reviewing the Sunset Beach issue probably January, February. The councillors will be, providing I'm there, I will make sure that this happens with our CAO, with our recreation director. I'll make sure that Dave Duraco is in the meeting so we have input from the residents as to how the season went. As far as the boat ramp is concerned, as I said before, we want to complete phase 2, and part of phase 2 is putting in a new boat ramp. We're hoping that we're going to get some major funding from the province. I hear it's on its way, and if that's the case, it'll get done, if not next year, the year after for sure, but we're hoping it'll get done next year, along with a new playground, improved parking, improved landscaping, and a boat ramp. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Next up would be number 1. So that is Steve.
Okay. Yes, I found that the actions down there were very impulsive. I think that, some of that stuff, we don't need to have paid parking down there. This is a city beach for everybody. It is an area that everybody likes to visit, especially like a 3-hour cap if you don't have a pass. Most people know that when you're going to the beach, you're not going there for a few minutes or a few hours. You want to be there for the day. I would like to see that gone. I do not believe we need to have a $15 a year parking pass for our residents with no cap, because if without a cap, next year we could say, oh, well, our costs are this much, and it can keep increasing to what point we don't know. So that's what I would like to see down there. The parking on the streets, I believe that now that we don't have that issue with all the out-of-towners coming in anymore, we can look at that again and reestablish our parking zones there. And obviously for the boat ramp, obviously something is coming down the pipeline, so it looks like we have some stuff to look at in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And Dawn is up next.
Thank you. So, wow, this is a pretty loaded question for me. I lived and breathed this every day while COVID was going on. And some of these measures, I think, were very important to the people that lived there. So I think that a review is certainly necessary so that we can look at what worked, what didn't work, parking, paid parking. I think that residents should pay no parking fee, but that visitors that come to our beach and enjoy it should have to pay a fee to come there, just like we do when we go to other cities. I think that that's only fair to us. And the fees that we do get from that go towards things that we want to do to make improvements to the beach. So, and I'm glad to see that we're thinking that the COVID is behind us, because I agree with that. Some of the parking issues are still there. If you live there, you know how busy it can be. It hasn't stopped. People are still coming to the beach. People are still parking on the street. And so lastly, I guess I would like to say that when we're talking about the boat launch and whatnot, like Bill said, we're looking at a second review that's going to have a lot of public input into it, especially since things have definitely changed from when we had our first review and made improvements to the beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. And last up for this question is Bob.
Yes, I've looked at this and I'm thinking, I mean, most of our mandates are gone now as far as COVID, and this was instilled during that, and I believe this should be something that is gone as well. The beach should be something to be enjoyed by the taxpayers and not have to go and worry about money and paying for your parking. And you think about, people with disabilities maybe have to park streets away, young families with strollers and everything. It creates a headache for a lot of people. And I've noticed the streets through there. I mean, if anybody that's here tonight that lives on one of those streets, it's just packed with cars and cars, and it shouldn't be. They should be in the parking lot. So I would be all for taking the fees out of there and just making it free so everybody can enjoy it. And as far as Sunset Beach, the boat launch, I've seen a little bit. I believe Dave was on council talking about it as well. And I think it's a good idea, and it sounds like it's going to happen. So it looks like some good things are going to come. If we can get the parking under control and get the boat launch ready to happen, I think we'll be in really good shape.
Thank you, Bob. We are on to question number 3. We have another multimedia question, so please refer to the screens. For this question, showing in red is the extent of the city's current bylaw for 150 meters of separation distance created to protect residents' homes in Happy Rolfs from adverse impacts of cannabis production facilities that are allowed on all of the blue industrial lands. Our third question is, Niagara municipalities like Niagara-on-the-Lake and Niagara Falls have implemented 500 and 600 meter separation distances of cannabis production facilities from land uses such as homes and parks. Our city council established a 150 meter distance. Would you commit to putting forth a motion for an interim control bylaw on our industrial lands for a moratorium for up to 2 years to study the issue, seeking updated science and case law? For this question, we are going to start with number 3. I think that is Bob.
All right. Well, I've read up a little bit on this, and I know of Niagara Falls and the rest of them. It does seem a little close. Why is Niagara Falls a little further away and this will be closer? But looking at it, I know there was a specialist that came in and did some, looking some assessments. So I don't think we need to go down that road again and put taxpayers' money into doing another assessment. But I would agree that we could bring it up at council and have it looked at again to just see how everyone thinks about it, and invite people as well from Port Weller and everywhere else to come in and have their say as well, so that we can get it right.
Thank you, Bob. I should have said this is a 1-minute question, so it's more of a rapid fire. That was number 3, so number 4 is up next, which would be Bill.
I have to declare something right now. My son is the Chief Operating Officer for the Alcohol and Gaming Commission, so if this is brought to council, I must declare a conflict of interest. I cannot vote on it because it has something to do with allowing industry or stores to locate there. If I was able to, I would say yes, but I'm not going to be able to if I get elected. It's as simple as that, because I have declared, the organizers know that I declare a conflict of interest. I've talked to them before this, and I must continue to do that as long as he's employed with them, and I hope he is for a long time. He won't be on my paycheck.
For answering the question, even though you'd declare a conflict at council. Appreciate the transparency. Next up is number 1, Steve.
Yes, I would look at putting in a temporary moratorium to look into the effects of the surrounding area and the environment around those plants, because we do have exhaust fans that are sending out stuff. We have all kinds of fertilizers that are being used. We have to make sure there's proper containment, proper safety measures being used by all these sites. So they're coming out and doing air quality sampling, just make sure that residents around the area are safe and not breathing in anything that's not appropriate. So I would definitely take some time to look at what distance is a safe distance with a proper study. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And last up for this one is Don.
Thank you, Marty. Can you put the question on the screen again, just so that I can refer to it?
There you go.
So I would not ask for moratorium. And speaking with our staff and all of the public input that we've had on this situation, the 150 meters is the minimum distance, and that is between sensitive uses and not sensitive zones. I think that I'd be more than happy to have 500 or 600 or anything like that. I would certainly consider that again, but the moratorium, I don't think that our planning staff has the ability to move forward with this and spend the money, since it has been studied several times. So that would be, but I would certainly support further buffers.
Thank you, Don. Before the next question, I'm going to mix up the order, so please give me back your numbers, and plus I just want to hold this pink hat again, so throw them back in. Thank you. Thank you. Let me mix them up. Steve, close your eyes. Dig deep. Bob, you're next. There's only one to choose from. Okay. Who picked number one this time? All right, so we're going to start with Bill, and our fourth question is, regarding the Northrop temporary construction extension to build the Bromley subdivision, are you in favor of City Council passing a bylaw to comply with the city's subdivision agreement with Grey Forest Homes, which states this access is to be open until the lands to the north are developed, in order to keep heavy construction vehicles off our residential streets until this subdivision is completely finished? Otherwise, Northrop will be permanently closed in the near future as directed to staff by this current City Council. You have 1 minute to answer this question. Bill?
First of all, there is not a bylaw that restricts construction traffic from traveling on city roads. So the fact that Northrop has stayed open thus far is a bonus to the residents at Port Weller. It would be great if it did stay open for the duration until it's finished, without a doubt. I don't know if we can do that, because Grey Forest Homes own the two properties bordering Northrop, and unless they're willing to enter into some type of negotiation, I don't know if we can do that or not. So if we can, fine, but I don't think we are able to do that.
Thank you, Bill. Number 2 is Don. Don's up next.
Thank you, Marty. So for myself, my answer to this is I think that Northrop should stay open permanently. I don't think that it matters whether they're building or not building. I think Northrop should be left open, and I think that the people that live in Port Weller East deserve at least 2 accesses in and out of their homes, as well as for emergency vehicles and other things like that that need to get back in there.
All right, thank you very much. Who is number 3 down there? Steve, all right. Floor is yours.
Okay, I also agree with Don that if we can keep that open, we should, because it gives the Port Weller East access to both roads in and out in case of emergencies, for safety issues, because I know coming in and out, there is heavy traffic on the other side, so sometimes you might not be able to get out of that area. So having a second access would be beneficial to all the residents in that area, and they can get to Happy Ralph's a lot quicker. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And Bob, you get to close out this question.
Well, I think we're all in agreement here. The same thing is the street should be kept open. I mean, as we're talking emergencies, you don't want to be plugging up the streets, and there is a lot of traffic there as well. So I would say just keep things moving through there. And as Steve said, hopefully the construction will be done sooner than later, and we can move on with this. But we don't want to start creating an even bigger headache for people that live in that area to try to find another way around.
Thank you for your answer. On to question number 5. Number 5 is, the city has granted community improvement dollars, referred to as the CIP, to developers to build luxury condos. In this term of office, CIP funds have been approved in the amount of $20 million. Do you approve of the use of taxpayer dollars funding for the CIP for such purposes? Please explain your stance either way with your criteria for your decision. For this one, we're going to start with number 3. Who was 3? Steve, you get to go first, and for this one, you have 1 minute for your answer.
Okay, in my opinion, I believe the CIP funds have lost their direction. The CIP funds were designed to bring in for affordable housing, issues with downtowns to help out revitalize cores. So I believe that we need to reevaluate our stance for the CIP because luxury condos and luxury townhouses should not be qualifying for these. I do not disagree with the builders. They applied and they received funds properly through the current program, but I believe we need to take a hard stance and look at that and make sure we're using those funds to make sure we're building houses for people that need affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Next up is number 4, which is Bob.
I definitely don't agree with this. As I was talking about, it's hard enough for, we look at our kids or family members trying to buy a house and trying to find their own way in our community. To allow them to use this money for more condos. I see condos going up, and I understand that more tax money comes in. Sometimes I don't know who's going to live in these condos and who's going to afford to live in these condos. I think we should be focused more on affordable housing than luxurious homes. So yes, I would definitely want this to be taken a look at and see if we can change the tone on this and look to help out families instead of making, I guess, the rich richer in bigger houses. So we need to look after our own people and use those funds to help people.
Thank you, Bob. Now we move to number 1, which is Bill is up next.
1 minute for CIP. We could spend hours talking about CIP. The CIP stands for Community Improvement Plan, and it is a plan that offers developers a chance to build their building, and we grant them some tax relief. I would like to see the CIP program revised and not necessarily revoked. It needs to have more in it for affordable housing. I strongly disagree with the fact that if we give a CIP grant out, then the region has to give a CIP to match that. I think that's wrong. I think each municipality should be on its own in a case like that. But rules are rules, and if you get the 50% or the 50 points and you say no to it, then obviously it has to be reviewed. And I voted in favor of it in the past, but it definitely needs to be changed in my mind.
Thank you, Bill. And Dawn is last up for this question about the CIP.
Thank you, Marty. So when it comes to this particular issue, I did not support giving the money to the developer. And I do agree with my previous speakers. There is some work to be done when it comes to the CIP. When I was first elected and this came to be, it was more to, at that time, we didn't have a lot of developers wanting to build here in the city of St. Catharines. So this was an incentive for them to get them back into that. So I agree that there is some good to this, but I do feel that we need to review the criteria and work towards having the purpose come back better.
Thank you, Don. We have 2 questions remaining on our agenda tonight, and we still have about 15 minutes. So they're supposed to have 1 minute left. I'm willing to call an audible here and give them each 2 minutes. I think we have the timekeeper. So I know that felt a bit rushed, so I thought let's give you an extra minute for these last 2 questions. Question number 6. City Council decisions are usually made with reports provided to them by city staff. What would you do to ensure the information flowing is accurate, transparent, and gathered without prejudice or external influence? We will start this time with number 2. That was Don. Okay. So we'll give you 2 minutes, Don.
I don't know if I need 2 minutes for this, Marty. but looking at this, you know, we have, I think, a great staff at the City of St. Catharines. They often spend many, many hours researching and bringing us the information that we have to help us to make our decisions that we have to make when we come to council. Not only do they do it in a written form, they always make themselves available for us to answer many questions behind the scenes and to work with us so that we're very well informed. So I think that I would say that we're already doing this, and I think that we have lots of checks and balances to make sure that things are transparent and gathered the way that you're asking here. So I definitely think that it's already being done, and like I said, we have a great staff. We pay them a lot of money to give us good advice, so I think that I would still stand by them.
Thank you, Don. Next is number 3. So Steve, you're up next.
Okay, just to make sure that you're getting the information it's research. It's making sure that we're taking the time to read it, understand it, ask questions, verify it, look at other, depending on the issue, we had to look at other jurisdictions and see what are they doing, how are they operating. Is there points from them that may work for us or may not work for us? We have to look outside the box, not just saying, okay, well, everything they're saying we need to do. We have to take our time and look around and say, okay, I understand what they're saying. Is there a different way? Is there a better way? Or are they bang on? And that's part of the job as a council, is to make sure that we are getting all that information, internal, external, compiling it, and putting our best decision forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Bob, you are up next.
All right. Well, not being on council now, I'm not privy to all the information, but understanding it, I have heard that the past city clerk who just retired was a wealth of information. I've met some of the planners that were here the other night during the Hoverlink, and they know their research. They have a lot of facts, and they do share them. And that, I would go with their facts, but also if there was a challenge, read it through carefully. If I'm not understanding, I'm not just going to say, well, I think that's what it means. I'm going to find out exactly what that means, and then go to the other council members and say, if we have a little conflict, well, they're saying this. What do you think? I think it should be this way. Just talk it out, but go with their research. And if we find a little flaw where we could have a change, then maybe there's a little debate that we could have with them, and to make the right decision.
Thank you, Bob. Last to answer this one is Bill.
I really don't like this question. We have 13 people on council, a mayor and 12 councillors. And we read and we read and we read our reports. And I have every bit of trust in our staff that they are accurate and transparent. And I've never ever questioned whether they've done something without prejudice or external influence. I'm really disturbed by this question because I admire our staff. Our staff are educated. Most of them have master's degrees in the area that they're working in. They are open to questions and answers from the general public and from us. And I have absolutely no concern with the information we get from our staff. I think they do an absolutely wonderful job.
Thank you, Bill. It is time for question number 7, the last question of the evening. It's a short one. It might be the shortest question of the evening, too. What measures would you like to see happen to attract businesses to St. Catharines? What measures would you like to see to attract business to St. Catharines? We'll give you each 2 minutes for this one. And I will start with candidate number 4 for this one. So, Bob, you can start us off.
From the experience of attracting that, more marketing. I'm in the marketing business, but wouldn't be doing it myself. But I know the city does a pretty good job of going and attracting local businesses, going to other cities, traveling afar, just like we did with the summer games, of bringing that here and getting that, which was pretty successful. So I would say that a lot more advertising and letting them know the benefits of the city. It's a great place to raise your family. It's a great place to run a business here. We're a lot of attractions. We're close to pretty much everything, Toronto and the border and all that. So we're a great place to be. And I just think that St. Catharines, I mean, I've been here my whole life and I enjoy it. I can't imagine being anywhere else. And I just think telling those stories and getting people involved to come here and just, I mean, everyone's seen the hustle and bustle of Toronto. Not that there's anything with that, but we don't have that. This is a great place to just relax, go to work, come home, and be with the family. And I think that's what St. Catharines offers. And I think if we let people know that, we will attract more business to St. Catharines.
Thank you, Bob. Next is number 1. Bill, you're up next.
Thanks. Good question. The CEO of Hoverlink is here. I wish he was here to tell you what attracted him to bring his business to St. Catharines. I think I know. We have a wonderful, wonderful area. What we need to do, though, is to get out there more in the Toronto area, get to more trade shows, get to conferences. We don't do enough of that. And I know it's expensive to do that, but if we, you can pay me now or pay me later. And we really have to, because we're competing with every other municipality and city in the province, and it's very difficult. We have to show what we have that everybody else doesn't, and it's very difficult to do that. And especially, our media, we have to improve, I believe, our media presence to make sure that we get out there with everybody else also. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And Don, you are up next.
Thank you, Marty. So I will not repeat what has already been said, and I agree with wholeheartedly what has been said. Another thing that I would like to see in the city of St. Catharines is that we try to support and promote our local businesses that are already here. They're the heartbeat of St. Catharines, and that's what keeps us, on the map. We're just coming through a pandemic with COVID, and everybody's trying to get back on their feet, and I think that we have to also promote from within and let people know what great things the city of St. Catharines and their businesses have to offer.
Thank you, Don. And the final response goes to Steve.
Okay, for St. Catharines, not just St. Catharines, but we have to work with our region. We have a lot of space, and we have a lot of area that we can bring in businesses. And that's what provide jobs for people throughout the region, not just St. Catharines. But one of the big things to attract businesses is incentives. A lot of them want something to come there. So we have to look at, what kind of maybe tax incentives can we give them, because that's generally what they're looking for, is some kind of tax incentive, which is always tough because you don't want to give too much, but by giving them an incentive, it allows them to operate, build without costs right off the hop, so that they're ready to run and then bring that business to our area. So I think that by attracting them with different incentives, we can build up a big hub and a business hub that will suit everybody in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Well, everyone, this concludes the formal portion of our Grantham Ward Candidates Forum. As moderator, I also take my role as chief timekeeper very important. I think your most invaluable currency is your time. It is 7:28, so I'm pleased to give you back 2 minutes of your time here tonight. However, If you would like to stay longer, we also do have the informal meet and greet session, which is about to begin. So I will explain just quickly how that part of the agenda will run for those that would wish to stay a bit longer. This is for the benefit of the public, so you feel informed when you walk to the ballot box, and you are able to recognize the other candidates who might be in attendance tonight and running for the other positions that will be on the ballot on October 24th. A reminder that their campaign literature is on the separate tables at the back of the hall, and complimentary coffee, tea, and water is still available in front of the bar. Do we have any of the mayoral candidates in attendance here tonight? Matt Cisco is here. If so, state your name. Please wave, introduce yourself. All right, thank you for coming. Anyone? That's perfect. And anyone who would like to meet Matt, who will be here for the meet and greet portion. Next up, I believe I was going to be given a list of regional council candidates who signed in, and it is coming my way momentarily. And then I can let you know who is here from the regional council slate.
People who have signed in, but
There might be others who we've missed, but the ones we know who are here are Haley Bateman. Haley, you want to stand up? Or was she? Haley was here earlier.
I think she had to go to bed.
Oh, see, some people are bouncing between the Grantham and Meriton. Jim Bradley. Thank you, Jim. Matthew Bradnam. Went to Meriton as well. Brian Height. Back corner, Brian. Sabrina Hill. Sabrina. Lori Yip. Alicia Marshall. May have left. John McGill. I'm here. John. Tricia McLennan. Good. Sal Sorrento. Meriton. And Dennis Van Meer. Okay. Well, those who are here will be available for the meet and greet portion. And is there anyone who I didn't name who may have missed the sign-in sheet? School trustees is coming up next. All right, next we have our school board trustees from the Niagara Catholic District School Board. Natalia Benoit. And from the DSBN trustee slate, Kate Baggett. Kate. Alex Bradnam. And Mike Brusso. Excellent. All right, and just before I close, just want to remind everybody that this entire event will be available for viewing on YouTube. So you can find that by searching the WeStream YouTube channel or the Port Weller Residents Association on YouTube. So any of your friends or neighbors or colleagues that may have not been physically here tonight, they can watch it after tonight anytime on YouTube. Thank you to everyone in attendance who gave of your time to come here tonight. And of course, to our city councilor candidates who bravely sat up here and answered these questions here tonight. Regardless of who is successful, it does take a lot of guts to stand in front of your peers, answer these questions, and put your names on your ballot. This is what makes local democracy work. And that's why I volunteered my time to be your moderator here tonight. So have a great night, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thanks, Marty.
All right. Pleasure.